Good morning, America. Donald Trump makes his first public appearance since the assassination attempt, side by side with his new running mate. Overnight, Donald Trump appears at the first night of the Republican National Convention, a bandage over his ear 2 days after being shot. Hours after announcing J.D. Vance as his VP pick. This morning, a look at the first-term 39-year-old Ohio senator, a critic turned convert to Trump, and the author of the bestseller-turned-movie Hillbilly Elegy.
Overnight, President Biden in battleground Nevada, planning to draw sharp contrasts with Trump as he urges the country to lower the political temperature.
Hottest day of the year? Parts of the East Coast brace for a triple-digit scorcher as severe storms slam the Midwest overnight.
Falling behind, the new report finding many women are skipping critical cancer screenings, why some say they are postponing these appointments.
The new study on kids, screen time, and mental health, how to tackle the challenge of cutting back, and is green time the answer?
One last roll of the dice. The Las Vegas Staples set to close its doors for good. My fans are flocking to the Mirage, still hoping to hit the jackpot.
Prime time. The summer's big sales event is here. It is not just Amazon, where you can find Black Friday in July.
So get out your seat and jump around, jump around.
And having a blast, the new home run derby king, knocking it out of the park.
That is smoked. Wow, second deck.
Plus, the 100-year-old skydiver and World War II paratrooper taking a big leap to champion a great cause.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday morning. We have a lot to get to, including Donald Trump's first public appearance since the attempt on his life.
Trump appeared at the first night of the Republican convention. He accepts the nomination on Thursday night, only 5 days after the gunfire in Pennsylvania. And he stood for the first time with his new running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Rachel Scott starts us off from the convention floor in Milwaukee. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. 48 hours after surviving an attempted assassination, former President Donald Trump became the Republican nominee for the third time. He made a surprise appearance here just right off of the convention floor, escorted into this arena by some of the very Secret Service agents that rushed him off that stage in Pennsylvania.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Overnight, in his first appearance in surviving an attempted assassination, Donald Trump entering the Republican National Convention with a white bandage over his right ear. And standing shoulder to shoulder with his new running mate, first-term Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. The Republican Party rallying around Trump after that shooting, repeating the very words he said as Secret Service rushed him off the stage. And Trump's speech expected to be dramatically different, too. He's now rewriting his remarks to focus on unity. From the first night of the convention, Republicans trying to appeal to a broader base, featuring several black speakers, including model and reality TV star Amber Rose.
American families were better when Donald Trump was president.
And a primetime speech from Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, the first boss from the powerful union to address Republicans.
At the end of the day, the Teamsters are not interested if you have a D, R, or an I next to your name. We want to know one thing. What are you doing to help American workers?
Hours earlier, the former president became the official Republican nominee for the third time. His sons Don Jr. and Eric and daughter Tiffany putting him over the top in the roll calls.
Hereby declaring him the Republican nominee for President of the United States of America.
It came just minutes after Trump announced Senator Vance as his running mate. Sources tell us Trump broke the news to Vance just 20 minutes before he told the world. The senator and his wife Usha taking a victory lap on the convention floor.
J.D., 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 J.D.
At 39 years old, Vance would be one of the youngest vice presidents in American history, elected to his first term in the Senate just 2 years ago. A Marine who served in Iraq, Vance then graduating from Yale Law School. A former venture capitalist, his working class memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, a bestseller. He was once a critic of Trump.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
But the senator says Trump's performance in office proved him wrong.
I don't hide from that. I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president and he changed my mind.
He became one of the former president's most outspoken defenders and a close friend of his son, Don Jr.
What are you hoping that he brings to this ticket?
The same energy he's brought Republicans in the United States Senate.
Another Republican who was once very critical of Donald Trump, his former rival, Nikki Haley. The former South Carolina governor once called Donald Trump a disaster. Well, tonight we've learned she is expected to address the Republican National Convention. She originally was not part of this lineup, but after the shooting, that changed, George.
Okay, Rachel, thanks very much. It's been our chief Washington correspondent, Jon Karl, also in Milwaukee. Former President Trump also working the phones yesterday. He called you?
He did. He called us right before the VP running mate Vance came into the chamber. He was quite reflective, George, reflecting on the fact that at a quarter inch or a half an inch difference, and that bullet would have been a direct hit on his head, he could have been killed. I asked him if he had been changed by that experience. He suggested that it has certainly had an impact on his outlook. In fact, he says he's torn up his old convention speech, what he had written. He said it would have been a humdinger attacking Biden. Now he says his focus is going to be more on unity. Those were his words.
Do you know what that means?
Look, I don't know exactly what that means, and I've seen Trump in the past talk about suggesting he was coming with a different message. But I can tell you, George, that this convention yesterday was unlike anything that I have seen in the 2024 Trump campaign. I mean, there was no mention of stolen elections, of January 6th heroes and hostages, revenge and retribution. Those have been the central messages of the Trump campaign, and they were entirely absent, at least on day one of this convention.
And with the pick of J.D. Vance, even though he was a former critic, the president doubling down on his MAGA agenda.
There was nobody more purely MAGA, more undying, more unflinchingly Donald Trump and pro-Trump than J.D. Vance. Look, he's a convert. He was a harsh critic, as you heard Rachel Scott mention in her piece there. He was as harsh a critic as there was on the Republican side of Donald Trump. But he was all in after Trump won the White House. And Trump loves somebody who was once critical and now is undyingly faithful to him. So that's J.D. Vance. He was clearly the pick of, well, people like Tucker Carlson were lobbying hard for J.D. Vance. He is the pure MAGA. This is not the Reagan party. This is the Trump party. That was a Trump pick.
Okay, Jon Karl, thanks very much. We're going to have more on the Donald Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, in our next half hour. Robin?
All right, George, but now the protests at the convention and the massive security operation to keep people safe. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is there in Milwaukee as well for us. Good morning to you, Matt.
Robin, good morning. In the moments before the former president arrived here at Fiserv, we watched this part of Milwaukee lock into a fortress. There were multiple sniper teams up on the rooftops here at Fiserv and on an adjacent building. There were hundreds of officers on foot patrol and bicycles. There were drones and helicopters in the sky, gunboats in the river here. Thousands of officers in total from multiple states, including the Secret Service. But the biggest concern over the past 24 hours have been a series of protests and marches right here for this soft perimeter area. And about 1,000 people did turn up. They lacked a cohesive message, but they were disciplined, never deviating from this pre-planned route, despite the fact that there are also some taunts and tension with some pro-life activists. There was not even a whiff of violence. One of the organizers telling me that many thousands were expected, but because of the attempted assassination on the former president and the fact that Wisconsin gun laws allow people to openly carry here, a lot of people stayed away. The mayor of Milwaukee saying overnight that 2 people had been arrested, both of them drunk. Michael.
All right, Matt, thank you for that. Now we're going to go to the latest on the investigation into the shooter. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is near the gunman's home in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, Michael. The FBI has conducted more than 100 interviews, many of them right here in the neighborhood where the shooter lived. They've gained access to his phone now. They even know how he was able to take possession of the rifle, but none of that has established a clear motive. Before the rally, a new DHS and FBI bulletin said Thomas Crooks bought 50 rounds of ammunition from a gun shop near his home. In the last several months, the bulletin said Crooks received packages marked as containing hazardous materials, and 2 crude explosive devices were found in the shooter's car and one here at the house. On the day of the rally, sources say Crooks told his father he wanted to go to the shooting range, and that's when his father gave him the AR-style rifle, thinking nothing of it. The bullets the 20-year-old fired struck and killed Corey Compratore, a husband and father who shielded his family from the gunfire. His funeral is Thursday. His widow told the New York Post President Biden tried to reach her, but she didn't take the call because her husband's a staunch Republican and would not have wanted to, though she mentioned she has no ill will toward the president, and she told the paper that Trump has not reached out. The shooting also injured 2 people, David Dutch and James Copenaver, and this morning both of them are recovering in the hospital. Robin?
And hopefully they will both will make full recoveries. Aaron, thank you so much. Now to President Biden. He is in the key swing state of Nevada this morning after giving his first interview since the attempt on Donald Trump's life. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, is in Las Vegas with the latest. Good morning to you, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, the president is returning to the trail today. His campaign says they are plowing ahead, eager to sharpen the choice voters will face in November. Overnight, President Biden touching down in battleground Nevada. Back on the trail after pausing in the wake of the attack on Donald Trump. The president, we are told, will continue to draw sharp contrasts with Trump, even as he urges the country to lower the political temperature, condemning political violence.
It's become too commonplace, not assassinations, but to talk about it.
Just days before the shooting, Biden telling donors it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. But now he says that was a mistake.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate.
Biden eager to put the spotlight on his rival and off continued questions about his own ability to beat Trump and govern for another 4 years. Defiant when asked if he's weathered the storm of uncertainty surrounding his candidacy.
Look, 14 million people voted for me to be the nominee in the Democratic Party. Okay? I listen to them.
Biden adamant he's staying in this race. Asked who he listens to make that decision.
Me. Look, I've been doing this a long time. The idea that I'm the old guy, I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump, number one. And number two, my mental acuity's been pretty damn good. I've gotten more done than any president has in a long, long time.
Now, over the next 2 days, the president is upping his outreach to critical Black and Latino voters, doing a slew of events and interviews, and guys hoping he can finally silence his Democratic doubters.
All right, Mary, thanks to you.